In fact, some of the most powerful events in Jesus' life didn't happen at point A or at point B, but rather in between, while he was walking. There are dozens of Bible stories that start with the words, "As he walked," as he went by the Sea of Galilee, as he walked from the village, as he walked up the hill. Tremendous stories that happened because Jesus moved slowly. And if he had been going fast, those things would never have happened, and those people would never have encountered Jesus, and their lives would not have been changed. Let me give you just a little sample from a very small section of the Gospel account of Matthew. In 4:18, as Jesus walked by the shore of the Sea of Galilee, he met two brothers, Simon and Andrew. And then as he walked again, he met the sons of Zebedee, James and John. In Matthew 5:1, as Jesus was walking, the crowd came to him. And so he stopped and began to teach them. At Matthew 8:1, as Jesus walked up the hill, he stopped when he saw a man who was suffering. At 8:5, as Jesus walked into Capernaum, a Roman officer stopped him and said, "Sir, my servant is ill." In Matthew 9:9, Jesus stops as he is walking when he sees a tax collector called Matthew. In Matthew 9:18, as Jesus was walking with the Jewish official, a woman who had been bleeding for 11 years stopped him and touched the hem of his garment. And all of those stories only happened because Jesus was not in a rush. Jesus was moving through the world and through life slowly, and because of that, he was able to perceive of the needs of the people around him and touch their lives. How many other gospel stories, the great stories of Jesus' ministry, happen because Jesus went slowly. When he stopped to talk with the woman at the well in Samaria, he wasn't going to Samaria. He was passing through Samaria on his way from Jerusalem to the Sea of Galilee. If he had been in a rush, he never would have stopped. And we never would have had that wonderful story in which the woman says, "Sir, give me that water, that I may drink it and never be thirsty again." When he stopped to heal blind Bartimaeus, it was in between the two places that he was traveling to and from. When he stopped to speak with Jairus, when he healed the two blind men, in all of these stories they begin saying, as he went from one place to another, someone needed his help, and so he stopped. Perhaps the most powerful story about the rush mentality and its detrimental effect upon our personality and our lives is the story of the Good Samaritan. The man was injured and lying by the side of the road, but the priest couldn't stop because he was in a rush to get to church. And the Levite couldn't stop because he was in a rush to go and worship God. And finally it was a Samaritan who walked by. And he wasn't in a rush. He knew that if he stopped to help that man, he would have to stay with him for hours. to pick him up, to bind his wounds, to take him back to the place from which he had come. But Jesus says, perhaps not in so many words, those people who were in a rush to get from point A to point B didn't even see the suffering of that man. But the man who walked slowly was able to perceive and feel and stop and help. It's a secret that Jesus knew. If we are in a terrible rush all the time, we miss the most wonderful part of life. We do not see the needs of other human beings. We are not able to stop and interact in a meaningful way with the people around us. We miss all of the beauty that the world has to give us. The very value of every moment is diminished because we are not living in that moment. We are trying to get through that moment to get somewhere else. And the saddest thing is that usually when we get to that other destination, what do we want to do? Move on to the next destination. Because we are always pushing ahead. We always have some place to go. And when we get there, we have someplace else to go. And before you know it, we have used up our whole length of life trying to get from point A to point B to point C. And we have never in any moment stopped and said, I am glad to be alive in this moment, where I am, with these people around me, and in this situation. The psalmist said it clearly. This is the day which the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it, here and now. Not waiting for some other thing to come, not waiting to reach some other destination. This is the day, this is the moment, and God is calling you here and now, wherever you are, to be fully alive and fully God's servant. In very broad sweeps, because of our rush to get through something or other, we throw away vast portions of our lives. Let me give you two little examples.